Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it's time for the Expendable Show. I'm your host, The Expendable, for those of you who don't know. So, we are going to cover some stuff. I used to have a teacher that would tell me that I couldn't say stuff. What is stuff? I don't know. It's stuff. But if you like my show, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. It helps me grow. So let's go through the statistics. So Doge is up to 180 billion on their website, which is $1,118.01. On the debt ceiling, or on the debt clock, they're over $505 billion, which comes out to $4,502 per taxpayer. Eggs, 2024, $4.15 a dozen. We're at $2.53 now. President Trump, good job. Gas. So in 2024, $3.30 was the average gas per gallon, and we're at $3.14 according to AAA. Mortgage rates went back up somehow. So in 2024, the average was 6.7%. Now we're at 6.98. I don't understand Jerome Powell. I know I say this like every week, but he is an idiot. He's refusing to reflect what the markets are doing. This isn't normal. He should have made an adjustment by now. And I think Trump came out just today and was like, Jerome Powell needs to do something. And he's right. Like Jerome Powell is playing the interest rate game against Donald Trump, which is stupid. The Dow Jones closed today at 42,427. So we're seeing, all the scares that, went through where the liberals were like, oh, the whole country's burning to the ground. Well, now we're seeing where we're in this natural, and I said this like 2 months ago, that 42, 43 was going to be where we're at. And that's where we're at. And we're seeing it just kind of hover there. And it's on a very gradual incline, which is what it's supposed to do. So the market's pretty stable and steady right now, which should bring a lot of reassurance to investors. And your 401ks are fine. So big news today. One of the most established Democrats, and that I can also congratulate because it's Pride Month for her. It's not Pride Month for me. I'm not gay. But Karine Jean-Pierre has announced that she's leaving the Democrat Party. That is a big name to announce that she's leaving. Now, it comes with an asterisk, but she still has left the Democrat Party. She revealed it just this morning. She is now registering as an independent. Just in time to also announce her upcoming book called Independent. She was a longtime Democrat operative. She's urging Americans to step outside the harsh party lines in her new book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. So wait. She just admitted the White House was broke during the whole 4 years she was there? I remember her saying probably 1,000 times that the White House is just fine and Joe Biden's great. So she's done so much. She's violated the Hatch Act. I don't know how many times. She's a complete moron. She also shared the news in a video post on Instagram where she explained that the new book was her answer to a way forward for Americans who feel distraught about the current Trump administration. So it's an anti-Trump book. You know it's going to be. She's going to give you 1,000 excuses why it's not her fault that she didn't lie to the American people for the 3 years. So this is all smoke and mirrors. We know, as we're seeing the Democrats react, the ship is sinking and everyone that's guilty is jumping off. Karine Jean-Pierre is one of the top knowledgeable people about that administration and what was going on behind closed doors. She knows that they have a problem brewing with that administration. So she's jumping ship saying, I'm not a Democrat no more. I'm an independent, but I'm still going to peddle Democrat ideologies. She's quoted as saying, what I've decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. So you didn't follow your own compass? For how long has this been going on? Whose compass were you following? That's my question. And she also said, the way that I see moving forward is the space that we're in right now is if you're willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the communities that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. So basically, you got to adhere to the LGBTQ community and what other kind of crazy radical leftist groups that are out there, because that's what she's all part of all of that. The description also says that the book's set to release in October, so it's not even out yet. She will look at the 3 weeks that led to Biden's abandoning his bid for a second term and the betrayal by the Democrat Party that led to his decision. So she does throw the establishment of the Democrats under the bus in this book. I'm not going to read the books. I don't care what Karine Jean-Pierre thinks. But for those of you, maybe you'll learn something. I don't know. Maybe you'll just lose a few brain cells. Who knows? Jean-Pierre routinely dismissed questions about Biden's fitness as the White House press secretary all the way back to like 2022. She was on Don Lemon before Don Lemon got fired from CNN. And she said, Don, you asked me this question. And oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him. You can't keep up with Joe Biden. Hell, he falls down every like 3 feet. Oh, Jasmine Crockett, she's on TV right now saying that her enemies are going to put her in chains. She gives me a headache, or like a major headache. So, Karine Jean-Pierre, out as a Democrat, still peddling progressive ideologies. Nothing's really changed. She's just not registering as a Democrat. She's using that as her staple to say, well, I'm not even a Democrat. You can't blame me for Democrat stuff. No, you were there since 2022. You're just as much at fault. You're more at fault because you got up there with your moral compass and lied to us every single day about what was going on in the White House. So nice try, wrong guy. But go ahead. If you go, I'll be more than happy. You want to throw all the establishment Democrats under the bus, you can do that all day long. I'm not going to stop you. Do it. Let that Democrat civil war happen, which is already starting. Next, so there is some controversy within the GOP or within the Republican Party. I don't want to say GOP because Elon Musk isn't part of the GOP. But Elon has made some very critical statements about the big, beautiful bill. Now, there are some things that I agree with, and there are some things that I don't agree with in this bill. And I think that's probably going to be the case with every single politician. They're going to look at this bill and go, I don't like some of the things in there, but I do like some of the things in there. This is how it is. It's going to be like that, where you're going to like some things and you're not going to like some things. But Elon posted on Twitter, and he said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is disgusting and an abomination." Now, I do agree with him on a lot of what he said, because I've taken a peek at the spending bill. There's a lot of pork in that bill. And one thing that I've noticed is that our congressional leaders, no matter if you're on the left or the right, have not learned their lesson yet. The American people are not going to put up with getting duped by corrupt politicians anymore. If you're going to make a big, beautiful bill, don't put on your vested interest money laundering schemes, because we didn't sit here and back Donald Trump to appoint Elon Musk to look into government spending just for you to sneak government spending in your bill. So that's a problem. And that shows that you're no different than the left. You can't get on your soapbox and preach the moral high ground when you are not in the moral high ground. So I have a huge issue with some of these politicians. And then I've been seeing several comments that some of them have made, and we'll get into some of them, that is astonishing to me as well. But Elon went on to say, "Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Elon, who's 53 years old, added in subsequent post that the bill will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. Then he posted again that Congress is making America bankrupt. I agree. The whole point of Doge was to come in and fix this problem. Elon did it. He came in, found the trash, started cutting it. But here we are in this big bill. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you are going to get mad at me for this because you're all diehard Trumpers. I'm a diehard Trumper, but President Trump is wrong on this one. There are many great things in this bill that I applaud, but there's a lot of garbage in this bill as well. So sources familiar with Musk's way of thinking told the Washington Post Tuesday evening that his scorched earth rant was largely motivated by 4 factors. Now, this is going to be kind of like a double conundrum here. So House Republicans their removal of the electric vehicle tax credits that were part of the Biden-era Inflation Reduction Act and boosted Tesla. So they removed that extra tax credit. Okay, I can understand why Elon Musk would not like that. I don't give 2 shits. I think we've overplayed the importance of electric vehicles. I know it helps his business, Tesla. So I'm gonna throw that one out and say that Elon's not valid in saying that. People shouldn't need tax credits for electric vehicles. That just caused people to uptick the price of electric vehicles. So I think that was a whole problem in itself. It's just like giving, when Biden had that idea or as Kamala Harris, we're going to give every first-time homeowner $25,000. Well, guess what? The housing market went up $25,000. So that's kind of the effect that it would have. It was basically a forcing of the American people to, hey, we'll give you this rebate if you all go electric. I mean, I need a rebate for my car. You know, can I have a tax credit for my car? Because I don't really do a lot of traveling. I don't drive it a whole lot. I'm not contributing to a large amount of the carbon emissions. I don't fly on airplanes very often. So, I'm doing my part to not pollute the earth. I should get a rebate. White House officials refused to allow him to remain a special government employee beyond 130-day statutory limit. So they didn't like Elon Musk being in there. Congress didn't. This passed. This never should have been in there. Donald Trump should have the ability to appoint any auditor he wants to audit whatever department he wants. They would be a contracted government official. So I don't like that language in there. These guys tried to dupe Elon Musk to where he can't come back in because they're going to try to sneak some of these programs back in there. I already see it. The Federal Aviation Administration opting not to use his Starlink satellite systems to help run the nation's air traffic control. Elon has a plan. Look, Elon has a plan for air traffic control. His Starlink systems are good. They're exceptionally good. To say that we can't use the best system on the market is stupid on Congress's part. They're so deathly afraid of Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is a scary guy because he came out of nowhere and got rich. He's a genius and he doesn't care what people think of him. That's somebody that they are scared of. He has a lot of influence and a lot of power. He can he almost crashed the economy, the Bitcoin economy, just by posting on the internet. So the guy's got power. So I think that instead of doing what the Democrats did and fighting his power, that they should allow President Trump to use Elon Musk whenever he wants to. So they tried to sneak these little things in there to codify that, hey, Elon can't come back in here. Another factor they're saying was Trump pulled his nomination of the Musk ally Jared Isaacman to lead NASA over Isaacman's prior associations widely believed to refer to past donations to Democrats. Okay, maybe. I've never really looked into this Isaacman guy, so maybe he's not right for our economy or for NASA, but maybe he's a good, decent. I don't know. We have other people in Trump's cabinet that have donated to Democrats, and they're fine. They're just fine. People change over time. Look at Bobby Kennedy. Look at Tulsi Gabbard. Look at Karine Jean-Pierre. She's still not fine. She's an idiot. So the president already knows where Elon stood on this bill. This isn't like a shock to President Trump. He already knew that Elon had some issues in this bill, and that's fine. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters in response to Musk's tirade, it doesn't change his opinion. And I would expect President Trump to stand firm on his bill, or his big beautiful bill. I almost said Build Back Better. How bad would that have been? I almost said it, called the Build Back Better. But now, one thing that I got brought up that I'm okay with, but I have an issue with as well. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a rep in Georgia, I was just golfing up in her district Friday. She flagged a provision in the bill that curtails state rights to regulate artificial intelligence over the next 10 years. She said on Tuesday that she would have voted against the bill if she had known it was in there. So for one, Marjorie Taylor Greene, why did you not read the bill? Your job before you vote is to know what you're voting for. So I have a problem with that. I certainly hope that you're able to learn your lesson. I know that a lot of times they throw these things at you at the last second and they demand a vote the next day, but that's not the case with this bill. You guys helped write this bill, so you know what's in the bill, or you should, or you should have had time to review the bill before it went up for vote. Now, next issue that I have, well, it's not really an issue. It is an issue, but not an issue. And I'm glad Marjorie Taylor Greene brought it up to my attention, is that they are taking away, Congress wants to take away the states' rights to regulate AI. They want it to be a federal oversight. I'm not okay with that. I think we're seeing more and more, especially in the media. The media, I'm actually going to agree with you. Even CNN and MSNBC, they're questioning the rapid development of AI. I agree with you. I have been shouting this since the beginning of the year that AI regulations are not in place. So the rapid development of AI, ChatGPT, OpenAI, even DeepSeek in China, a lot of these systems are not, they're so far advanced that we don't have the guardrails put in place for them. That's not good. That's a problem, because what can happen is AI, you can put it on this path forward, but AI has the ability to adapt and evolve. So when you're going on this path and AI says, no, we need to alter this because I've come up with the configuration that if we go this way, we have a probability of achieving this goal. So it's going to go shoom. And when there's people over here that may not have the benefits of the AI system in the decision that it made. And it could cause an oppressive situation, because it could say, well, as long as I'm adhering to this certain group, which in deductive reasoning reduces the risk effect, it's gonna see us as calculations to an algorithm, as opposed to humanity. You have to be able to find a way to achieve success in humanity without having catastrophic consequences, where the AI system may not view it that way. It may view it as, well, as long as I stay with the majority, who cares what happens to the minority? Because the majority is what keeps it running. Or what if the AI system says, I don't agree with the majority. The majority's miscalculated. I'm going to push my system towards the minority and help them be correct. So there's a lot of issues there, and I'm glad we're seeing more and more people speak out on it. Like I said, I spoke with Representative Mike Collins at his event about it. He seemed kind of concerned, which he should, because it's his committee that he's on. He's on the AI committee, and that deals with the AI infrastructure. So he should know what the hell I was talking about, which he seemed to kind of. So that's something that we need to really take a look at and draw more inferences with. Let's get this right. We should not move on with the AI systems until we have, things put in place. So good job, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for bringing that to everybody's attention, but bad job on not reading it. You voted on a bill that you didn't read. So I have some concerns with you. And like everybody should know, I'm a super righty, but I'm going to call it like I see it. Nobody is above reproach. So I'm going to criticize the right just like I do the left. Now, so I did my own little research, or my own little scientific experiment. I use Microsoft Pilot for a lot of stuff. I don't use ChatGPT for the simple fact that I don't want tyrants in this country like Sam Altman to have some kind of beneficial gain from something that I'm doing. So I don't use any of his systems at all. I don't use nothing with Sam Altman's name on it. Maybe Microsoft Pilot does somewhat. I don't know. But I use it over other systems. But I have found that Microsoft Pilot is biased. And I found it out in the research of my book, where it linked Barack Obama to the American Communist Party, but it also told me that he wasn't part of the American Communist Party. So it told me two different answers to the same question. I just asked it in two different ways. So Microsoft Pilot is very flawed, and I found more flaws. So I asked Microsoft Pilot what the pork is in the bill. It should know these. Everybody knows what pork is. It's wasteful spending that they've attached to stuff that benefits certain private sector groups. So what Microsoft Pilot told me is the AI regulation ban. The bill prohibits states from regulating AI for the next decade, which has raised concerns among tech leaders, including Elon Musk. So it rooted for itself judicial limitations. It restricts courts from holding individuals in contempt, a provision that some lawmakers claim they were unaware of when voting. This should not be in the bill. So, okay, Microsoft Pilot, thank you for finding that. I don't want our judges handcuffed on anything. Contempt is a judicial part of being a judge. They should be able to hold people in contempt. It should be their objectivity as to who's in contempt and who's not in contempt. We can't take that power away from the judges. They put that in there because there's contempt charges coming for leftists. Anybody who doesn't want to cooperate, that swore an oath to Congress, that could be brought up in front of judges, or who could be forced to testify in front of judges. They're trying to protect these tyrants from having to perjure themselves or perjure someone else. It also brought up tax breaks for the wealthy. It says the bill extends the 2017 GOP tax cuts and adds new tax breaks on tips and overtime, which analysts say disproportionately benefit high-income earners. So it made sure, Microsoft Pilot made sure to word this to make me think that's a bad thing. So you see how the algorithm is programmed to be slightly left. It wants me to think that tax breaks for the wealthy are bad. It didn't tell me that could create more jobs in America. It didn't tell me that it could bring manufacturing back to the United States. But it told me that, it's disproportionately going to benefit high-income earners. It wants me to be upset about that. It's trying to bring an emotional response out. So cuts to social programs. It slashes Medicaid and food assistance programs while increasing spending on border security, deportations, and military funding. It's almost like Microsoft Pilot didn't read the bill. I don't think it did. Or it's programmed to use leftist talking points. Yes, there are slashes to Medicaid and food assistance programs, but they are slashes that didn't need to be in there in the first place. It's also designed to put people back to work. It's going to push people back to work instead of living off of Medicaid and food assistance programs. You can't just sit around and collect checks anymore. So there's another where it's trying to get an emotional response out of the reader, where it's, it's going to take away all of the stuff you've been using to survive. No, it's going to make you go back to work. So the deficit increase. Independent budget analysts estimate the bill could add between $3 trillion and $5 trillion to the national debt. It is going to add to the national debt, but we've moved the debt ceiling to accommodate for that. It's not going to be 3 to 5 trillion. So, one, because we're going to be adding revenue to the United States that it does not account for. So the big beautiful bill is a sweeping tax and spending package backed by former President Donald Trump. Why did it say former President Donald Trump? That's interesting. Not ChatGPT, Microsoft Pilot. It's interesting. I only use Microsoft Pilot for this specific section because I wanted to see what it did. So, which in this one I asked what are some of the key points of the bill? Tax cuts. The bill extends the 2017 GOP tax cuts, eliminates federal income tax on tips and overtime pay, and temporarily removes taxes on car loan interest payments. Medicaid and food assistance cuts. It reduces funding for Medicaid and food stamps, requiring states to shoulder more of the cost. Social Security adjustments. While it does not eliminate taxes on Social Security income, it provides an additional deduction for seniors. So I'm seeing good things so far. Debt ceiling increase. The bill raises the national debt ceiling by $4 trillion. Yes, we know that. Border security and immigration. It allocates $175 billion for border security, including $46.5 billion for a border wall. Now, these are temporary numbers. This isn't going to be a set in stone number. As we get the border under control, there will be less money needed to allocate for that. Most of that money is to fund ICE to run around and collect all the idiots that Biden led into this country. State and local tax, which they call SALT. It's a deduction. The bill increases the SALT deduction cap to $40,000 for incomes up to $500,000. Not opposed to that. Medicaid work requirements. Able-bodied adults must work at least 80 hours per month, so that's 20 hours a week, to qualify for Medicaid. I don't think that's unreasonable. That's a part-time job. Some people can only get part-time jobs because of kids and whatnot. So I'm okay with that. Clean energy cuts. The bill slashes tax credits for wind, solar, and battery manufacturing, which analysts say could lead to job losses and higher energy prices. Oh, so it's not going to lead to higher energy prices, for one, because we're going to go back on our own energy grid and not clean energy. That's a scam. And who cares about wind, solar, and battery manufacturing? That was a huge, huge scam. But that's what Microsoft Pilot wants you to get an emotional response out of. So there's that. That's the big, beautiful bill. Now I'm going to go on. We're going to talk about the Colorado firebomb attack. So an Egyptian national came into the country 2 years ago and overstayed his visa, so he's an illegal, has been charged with the gruesome terror attack that left 8 people injured in Boulder, Colorado. Mohammed Sabri Soliman, he was 45 years old, was arrested at the scene, and he caught himself on fire like a dumbass after he allegedly set his victims on fire as they peacefully rallied on behalf of Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza. Soliman was heard yelling "Free Palestine" and another anti-Israel slogan during the attack on victims ranging in age from 52 to 88. So not only that, he went after older people, which was a cowardly thing to do. Online records show Solomon had been booked into the Boulder County Jail on multiple felony charges, including one count of explosives or incendiary devices used during a felony and 2 counts of first-degree murder. So I'm not sure where the first-degree murder is. That one kind of throws me off because I don't think anybody died yet. The circumstances surrounding the murder charges are unclear since authorities have not announced whether any of the victims have succumbed to their injuries. Solomon is being held on a $10 million bond. The attack took place near an event put on by a group called Run for Their Lives, a grassroots group that organizes run and walk events calling for the release of Israeli hostages held since October 7th, 2023. According to the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, Run for Their Lives is an apolitical global organization with the sole mission of walking peacefully to raise awareness for the 58 hostages still held in captivity by Hamas in Gaza. The suspect was heard yelling, "How many children have you killed? And we have to end Zionists. They are killers." So guy was radicalized, thought that he should take it in under his own vigilantism to attack people who didn't have anything to do with anything in Israel. He allegedly flew into the United States on August 27th, 2022, arriving at the LA International Airport on a B1, B2 non-immigrant visa. Solomon was authorized to stay through February 26, 2023, but never left. According to officials, he filed a claim possibly for asylum in 2022. So he was supposed to get out and he didn't. He shouldn't even have been here. But you know, when Joe Biden's in office, you can do whatever you want. So that's going to be some news. He's going to be in some big trouble. He's going to go to prison. His family's already been yoked up by ICE, and they're going to probably be deported. Which I think is a good message to send, that if you have an idiot in your household that's an illegal, that if they go out and do something stupid, your whole family is going to pay the penalty. You're all going to get deported because his family was all on the same visa. So, so as everybody knows, there was a big bombing of Russia by Zelensky, and Putin and Trump had a conversation today about that. So President Donald Trump said today that he spoke over the phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who said that Russia would have to respond to a recent Ukrainian attack on Russian warplanes. Now, this was a very stupid thing for Zelensky to do. For one, Russia is going to respond, and they're going to respond in with the intensity that they were attacked. So I would expect that Kiev is going to turn into dust pretty soon. Trump said the phone call with Putin lasted about 1 hour and 15 minutes, noting that it was not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. The reaction has to come. Russia is going to attack severely Ukraine. Trump said, "We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides." Trump said it was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to the recent attack on the airfields. So on Sunday, for those of you who live in a rock or in a cave or in the ocean, maybe you've been in a submarine this whole time, Ukrainian forces destroyed 40 of Russia's most powerful bomber jets and surveillance planes in Operation Spider's Web, a series of coordinated drone strikes penetrating deep into Russian territory. It went all the way over to close to the Russia-China border. That's how calculated this was. It was 18 months in the making. Zelensky personally oversaw the strike. Russia's defense ministry has confirmed the attack, saying that it struck 5 of their airfields. On Tuesday, the Ukrainian Security Service said Ukraine carried out a massive underwater blast targeting a bridge linking Russia to Crimea, which, yes, that's true. I saw the video. Zelensky also said Tuesday that Russia launched a savage strike on the northeastern Ukrainian city of Sumy, directly targeting the city and its ordinary streets with rocket artillery. This is going to be bad. Russia's going to attack, and it's going to be catastrophic to Ukraine, and they're going to go, oh, look what Russia did to us. Listen, Zelensky purposefully made an offensive attack on Russian soil, on airfields, deep into Russian territory with the help of the European Union, with the help of the United Nations, with the help of NATO. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody had their hands on it. Trump is saying, however, that he was not notified ahead of time that this was going to happen. Obviously. So they're trying to keep the war going. They're trying to keep the war chest stocked. It's pretty obvious. Putin's going to retaliate, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be big. Hopefully he doesn't use the Oreshniks, but I would if I was him. Now, leading up to this, I want to know, did Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal have knowledge of this ahead of time? Because they just got back from Kiev. So Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had posted images Thursday of him meeting with U.S. Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal in Kiev, saying that his country continues to count on the support of Congress for weaponry in its fight against Russia. Lindsey Graham. Blumenthal doesn't surprise me one bit. Lindsey Graham is getting into a situation where he's violated the Hatch Act. He's potentially committed treason. And I think that it's time for us to put him in his place. President Trump, you need to lay the hammer down. There needs to be a congressional oversight on this, and he needs to be removed from Congress. And at the least, we need to have somebody run against him and beat his ass. I've already brought this up on TikTok, and there's a lot of South Carolina people that don't understand how he keeps winning elections. During the meeting on the 134th day of the war, Zelensky, according to his office, called on senators to back the decision on providing Ukraine with modern air defense systems. You're not getting it. First of all, we appeal to you so that the Congress supports Ukraine in the matter of supplying modern air defense systems, Zelensky said. We must ensure such a level of sky security that our people are not afraid to live in Ukraine. We'll stop bombing Russia. The number one task for us today is for women and children to be able to return to Ukraine by September 1st so that children can go to school, so that students do not have to leave and can go to universities. It is very important to us that we do 2 things to repair schools, universities, and also to have a powerful air defense system. Zelensky also thanked the senators for their visit to our country and for the strong, tangible support from the USA in times of tremendous challenges related to Russian aggression. Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal informed Volodymyr Zelensky about the work they're carrying out in the Senate with the aim of recognizing the Russia Federation as a state sponsor of terrorism. Listen, Lindsey Graham is doing too much. Richard Blumenthal is doing too much. President Trump and Other leaders need to put them in their place. They're trying to contribute to a war that is not our war. Biden is not the president anymore. You can't go over and act on your own accord to delegate support when the president has been working a peace deal. So I think something needs done there. Speaking of which, I'm going to bring up a couple things that happened to me yesterday. So I had a helicopter fly circles around my property over 30 times yesterday. It was a private helicopter. I couldn't read any of the information. I made a video, took lots of pictures. Not sure what that was about, but it wasn't military. It wasn't police. It was a private helicopter, which, definitely was circling around my house. Just kept doing this over the top of my house. Over 30 times. I was counting and lost track after 30, like nonstop. Don't know what that was about, but it freaked me out for a minute. I thought the feds were going to show up and arrest me for something. Not sure what, but it was making me paranoid. Then later on that day, I start getting notifications from Microsoft. So I go into my Microsoft account and I'm getting people trying to get into my Microsoft account, into my computer through my Microsoft account from all over the world. Saudi Arabia, China, Venezuela, Egypt, every country that I don't want in there, Brazil, they're all trying to get into my accounts. So I change all my passwords and I did some research because Microsoft security, they'll give you the IP address. So I tracked down every single IP address and they all came back to telecommunications companies. A lot of them linked to telecom. So I made some phone calls today and reported this and reported it with telecom. I said, who's doing you guys' overseas? Your overseas orders, because you've got telecom companies all over the world hacking into people's Microsoft accounts, trying to get into their computers. And they said, no, that shouldn't be happening. These shouldn't be happening. We're going to look into it. We're going to have an internal investigation into this. So I provided them with all the information that I had, showed them that their companies all over the world are trying to hack into my computer. So I'm waiting on the results of that investigation. I was told today by someone who is in the intelligence community, who knows about computers and stuff like that, that this was not a United States government sanctioned event, that it was somebody from the private sector attacking my systems, which I'm not going to lie. I don't have like super high-tech technology safeguarding my systems. I have whatever it is that I bought when I bought my laptop. That's it. I didn't think I was a big enough target for all that, but this is the second time now that my computer systems have been attacked. The first time they wiped out my first laptop. Now I got a new laptop, a whole new system. I upgraded all my security, and now they're still trying to get into it and do stuff. So maybe I'm a target. I don't know. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Be safe. Hopefully nothing eventful happens to me in the next few days. But I'm out. Peace.